Most people think they can spot a narcissist by their confidence, their charm, or the way they talk about themselves. But the truth is, real narcissists are masters of disguise. They know exactly how to blend in, how to say the right things, and how to make you doubt your own instincts. But what if I told you there are 3 subtle patterns, hidden in plain sight, that reveal a narcissist's true character, no matter how perfect their mask? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and you'll never be fooled by a narcissist's performance again. Carl Jung spent his life exploring the hidden architecture of the human mind. He understood that beneath every persona, the mask we show the world, there are deeper unconscious forces shaping our behavior. Narcissists, more than anyone, are experts at constructing these masks. They build entire identities around what they want you to see: confidence, success, even kindness. But Jung discovered that no matter how carefully someone crafts their image, their true character always leaks through in 3 specific ways. Imagine this. You're sitting across from someone who seems magnetic, maybe even inspiring. They know how to make you feel special, how to draw you in with stories of their achievements, their struggles, their dreams. But something feels off. You can't quite put your finger on it, but your intuition is whispering that there's more beneath the surface. This is the moment when most people get trapped, caught between the narcissist's charm and their own self-doubt. Jung called this the power of the persona, the social mask that hides our true motives, fears, and insecurities. But he also believed that the unconscious mind can't be hidden forever. The real self always finds a way to reveal itself, especially under pressure, in moments of vulnerability, or when the narcissist thinks no one is watching. In this video, we're going to explore the 3 psychological patterns that expose a narcissist's true character. These aren't just red flags, they're the deep, structural cracks in the narcissist's mask. And once you know how to spot them, you'll see through the performance layer to the reality beneath. But before we dive in, remember, this isn't about judging or labeling others. It's about understanding the deeper patterns that shape human behavior, so you can protect yourself, build healthier relationships, and maybe even see your own blind spots with more clarity. Let's begin with the first way to spot a narcissist's true character, a pattern so subtle most people miss it entirely. The first way to spot a narcissist's true character is what I call the empathy erosion test. On the surface, narcissists can appear warm, attentive, even generous. They know how to mirror your emotions, how to say the right words, and how to make you feel seen, at least at first. But Jung understood that true empathy isn't just about words or gestures. It's about a genuine ability to feel with another person, to step outside your own needs and enter someone else's world. Here's where the mask begins to slip. Narcissists can imitate empathy, but only as long as it serves their image or gets them what they want. The moment empathy requires sacrifice, patience, or genuine discomfort, you'll notice a subtle shift. Their attention drifts. Their responses become mechanical. They might even become irritated or dismissive if your feelings don't fit their narrative. Picture this. You're sharing something vulnerable, a fear, a disappointment, a moment of pain. At first, the narcissist listens, maybe even offers comforting words. But as the conversation continues, you sense their interest fading. They redirect the topic back to themselves, or they minimize your experience with phrases like, "You're overreacting," or "That's not such a big deal." This is empathy erosion in action. The narcissist's ability to care is conditional, and the condition is always their own comfort or advantage. Jung wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." When you notice someone's empathy evaporate the moment it's inconvenient, you're seeing a core feature of narcissism. It's not that they can't understand your feelings. They simply don't value them unless those feelings reinforce their own self-image. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine a friend who's always there for the celebrations, the victories, the moments when you make them look good. But when you're struggling, when you need support without strings attached, they become distant or even annoyed. They might say, "I just don't have the energy for this right now." Or, why can't you just be positive? Over time, you start to feel like your pain is an inconvenience, something to be hidden or minimized. This is the empathy erosion test. Narcissists reveal their true character not in how they show up when it's easy, but in how quickly their empathy disappears when it's hard. If you find yourself feeling lonelier after sharing your struggles with someone, pay attention. That emptiness is often the echo of a narcissist's conditional care. Jung believed that authentic connection requires vulnerability on both sides. When someone's empathy is only available when it benefits them, you're not dealing with a true friend or partner, you're dealing with a performance. And the cracks in that performance are your first glimpse of their real character. The second way to spot a narcissist's true character is through what I call the mirror of criticism. Carl Jung taught that the way people respond to criticism is one of the most reliable windows into their unconscious mind. For the narcissist, this window is especially revealing because their entire self-image is built on the illusion of perfection. On the surface, a narcissist may appear confident, even unshakable. They might talk about their achievements, their talents, or their unique perspective on life. But beneath this polished exterior lies a fragile ego, one that is deeply threatened by any suggestion of imperfection. Jung wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." For the narcissist, this is almost impossible. Their persona is a fortress built to keep out any hint of inadequacy. So what happens when you offer even gentle, constructive feedback? Watch closely. The narcissist's reaction will tell you everything you need to know. Instead of curiosity or self-reflection, you'll see defensiveness, denial, or even outright hostility. They might attack your character, question your motives, or twist your words to make themselves the victim. Sometimes they'll launch into a monologue about their own struggles, subtly shifting the focus back to themselves and away from the discomfort of self-examination. Let's bring this to life with a simple scenario. Imagine you tell a colleague, "Hey, I noticed the report was a bit late this week. Is there anything I can do to help?" A healthy, self-aware person might say, "Thanks for letting me know. I've been overwhelmed, but I appreciate your support." But a narcissist? They might bristle. "Well, if you knew how much I have on my plate, you wouldn't be asking. Maybe you should focus on your own deadlines." The criticism, no matter how mild, is experienced as a personal attack. Jung called this the shadow defense. When someone is unable to tolerate any threat to their self-image, their shadow, the parts of themselves they refuse to accept, erupts in the form of blame, projection, or even silent withdrawal. The narcissist's need to be seen as flawless is so intense that they will distort reality, rewrite history, or sabotage relationships just to avoid facing their own imperfections. But here's the deeper truth. The more extreme the reaction to criticism, the more fragile the underlying self-esteem. Narcissists are not truly confident. They are desperately protecting a wounded core. Their inability to accept feedback is not a sign of strength, but of deep psychological vulnerability. If you notice someone who cannot handle even the gentlest feedback, who turns every critique into a crisis or a conflict, you are witnessing the narcissist's true character. Jung believed that real growth begins with the courage to face our flaws. The narcissist's refusal to do so is not just a red flag, it's a flashing neon sign. The third way to spot a narcissist's true character is what I call the pattern of exploitation. This is the most telling sign, and yet it's often the hardest to see, especially at first. Narcissists are skilled at hiding their true motives behind charm, generosity, or even apparent vulnerability. But if you look closely, a consistent pattern emerges. Relationships are transactional, and people are valued only for what they can provide. Jung observed that the unconscious mind always seeks to fulfill its own needs, often at the expense of others. For the narcissist, this drive is amplified. Their relationships are not built on mutual respect or genuine connection, but on utility. Friends, partners, even family members become resources, means to an end, rather than ends in themselves. Here's how this pattern reveals itself. In the early stages of a relationship, a narcissist may seem incredibly attentive, even selfless. They might shower you with compliments, gifts, or acts of service. But over time, you'll notice a subtle shift. The giving is never truly free. It comes with invisible strings attached. If you fail to reciprocate in the way they expect, or if you set boundaries, the warmth quickly turns cold. Let's look at a real-life example. Imagine you have a friend who is always eager to help you move, lend you money, or offer advice. But when you need emotional support, or when you ask for something that doesn't benefit them directly, they become unavailable or even resentful. Or perhaps they remind you, directly or indirectly, of all the things they've done for you, making you feel guilty or indebted. This is not generosity. It's a subtle form of control. Jung wrote, "Where love rules, there is no will to power, and where power predominates, their love is lacking." The narcissist's relationships are defined by this imbalance. They seek power, validation, or admiration, and when those needs are not met, they withdraw, punish, or manipulate. You might notice that your successes are met with envy or indifference, while your failures are used as opportunities for them to feel superior or to offer help that reinforces your dependence. The pattern of exploitation is often cyclical. The narcissist alternates between idealizing you, making you feel special, chosen, or indispensable, and devaluing you when you no longer serve their needs. This push-pull dynamic keeps you off balance, always striving to regain their approval or affection. If you find yourself feeling used, drained, or perpetually in debt to someone, emotionally, financially, or otherwise, you are likely caught in a narcissist's web. Jung believed that true character is revealed not in grand gestures, but in the small, everyday choices we make about how we treat others. The narcissist's pattern of exploitation is a clear sign that their concern for others is only as deep as their own self-interest. Now that you know the 3 ways to spot a narcissist's true character, the erosion of empathy, the mirror of criticism, and the pattern of exploitation, you might be wondering, what do you do with this knowledge? Jung believed that awareness is the first step toward transformation, both in ourselves and in our relationships. But awareness alone isn't enough. It's what you do with that awareness that shapes your life. First, let's talk about integration. Jung taught that the qualities we notice in others, especially the ones that trigger us, are often reflections of our own unconscious material. This doesn't mean you're a narcissist if you recognize these patterns in someone else. But it does mean that every relationship is a mirror, offering you a chance to see your own boundaries, needs, and vulnerabilities more clearly. If you've identified these narcissistic patterns in someone close to you, resist the urge to diagnose or confront them with labels. Instead, focus on your own responses. Ask yourself, how do I feel after spending time with this person? Do I feel seen, respected, and valued? Or do I feel drained, confused, or small? Your emotional experience is the most reliable compass you have. Jung wrote, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." Use these insights to awaken to your own needs and limits. If you notice empathy erosion, protect your vulnerability. If you encounter the mirror of criticism, don't take the bait. Maintain your self-worth, even in the face of blame or deflection. And if you see the pattern of exploitation, remember, you are not obligated to stay in relationships that cost you your peace or self-respect. But here's the deeper invitation. Jung believed that every encounter with the shadow, whether in ourselves or others, is an opportunity for growth. If you find yourself repeatedly drawn to narcissistic personalities, ask yourself what lesson your psyche is trying to teach you. Are you seeking validation from those who cannot give it? Are you afraid to set boundaries for fear of losing approval? These are not easy questions, but they are the doorway to true self-understanding. Finally, remember that the goal is not to become a master at spotting flaws in others, but to become more conscious, compassionate, and authentic in your own life. The more you understand these patterns, the less likely you are to be manipulated by them, and the more capable you become of building relationships based on mutual respect and genuine connection. Jung wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." Use these 3 ways not just to see through the masks of others, but to drop your own. Every time you choose self-awareness over self-deception, you take a step closer to your authentic self, and you invite others to do the same. If you found this video helpful, share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. And remember, the journey to understanding others always begins with understanding yourself. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next dimension.